do have this perimeter set up, and hopefully this can bring us closer to possibly understanding some form of pattern and exactly what type of phenomenon we're dealing with here. We are trying something a little different. Joey's actually listening in real time through condenser microphones that are ran through a preamp tube. Okay, you heard that, right?
Oh my god.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of Formula of a Haunting, The Evidence. This episode we're going to talk about a few different topics as well as feature a location called the Andres Pico Adobe. The Andres Pico Adobe is not really widely known and hasn't been on television, but it's a location I have investigated multiple times throughout the years. You're going to see some of those first investigations going back to 2009 and some techniques that I utilized in the Adobe. We're going to talk about the cultural aspect of paranormal investigation, the etiquette of the time period of the location you're investigating, and also talking about some new techniques that we utilized back in 2009. So here we go, the Andres Pico Adobe.
Few things about the Adobe. Anytime there's ever activity at a location, people are always wanting to attribute it to the big dog, and a lot of people, Andre's name is on it and it's called Andres Pico's Adobe. It's also called Romulo Pico Adobe, named after Andres' son Romulo. Andres didn't live there. He gifted the Adobe to his son. The Adobe was mainly used before Romulo moved in there to house, some people believe, wine. Other people believe it could have been equipment. Maybe it was kind of used almost as a glorified shed. But when Romulo and his wife Catalina, who historical records had said it's Caterina, that's wrong. It's Catalina. All the correspondence and historical documentation and her gravestone say Catalina. So if you've been saying Caterina, history professors, it's wrong. It's Catalina.
Can you please just come and say anything, por favor?
Wow. It's crazy old. It's really flat, this whole place on the internet. Yeah, please. This thermostat's really flat.
When we initially started to do our baseline data sweeps, trying to find the natural conditions in the building, what the natural EMF was, what the man-made EMF was, we were asking questions along the way, doing EVP sweeps as well, and we started to notice that we really weren't having any interaction with the location, which is kind of common with these investigations. Obviously, you go to a location, you don't have anything happen, it's more common than not. So these locations that we're showing you in these techniques, as well as the evidence we're showing you that's been gathered since 2006, out of 200 locations I've been to, only a handful have provided factual data, evidence that we can't explain, that has been tested by a third party. But what's interesting is going through the Adobe, we knew the history of the Adobe, but we wanted to kind of get in there ourselves and check it out and see if we can find any natural explanations to some of the experiences that some of the staff at the San Fernando Historical Society were experiencing, as well as people on tours. So we asked a lot of questions, all in English, and we started to notice right away we weren't receiving any answers whatsoever.
Is there anybody down here?
perimeter set up here.
Well, listen to the live line.
We have a motion detector at the end of these stairs here. We have a motion detector here at this entranceway to the next room. There was a triphone meter right here. You hear it spiking slightly. K2 here, and we do have condenser microphones set up upstairs and downstairs. See here, we do have the condenser microphones running to a tube preamp, ran to a digital interface. Very clean audio, something that a lot of researchers don't like to use, being that they believe that the white noise or the static of a recorder will help spirits speak, if you will. That's not the case from what I've dealt with and what Abra's dealt with. These condenser microphones seem to pick up pure audio, and something truly is there speaking. These are gonna detect it.
We were running 2 high-quality condenser microphones through XLR cables to a tube preamp, out of the tube preamp into a digital interface, into a digital audio workstation, and listening to that live and having this very high-quality recording in the entire building. So that really made this experiment even more interesting, because there was a lot of reports about audible phenomena.
There have been reports of paranormal activity there since the 1930s. Mark Harrington has a lot of diary entries talking about his experiences living at the Adobe, and he acquired the land in the 30s after he was looking for a ranchero style home to live in with his wife. And then while he and his wife were living in a tent on the property while they were renovating the building, they did mention that when they slept in the upstairs room, they would hear every single night footsteps beneath them.
Okay, you heard that, right?
Oh my god.
Hello?
Katarina, was that you? She said yes.
Are you joking, dude?
That was a yes.
I was upstairs, did you hear that?
That was a clear yes. Oh my god.
Oh, there's chills right now.
Look at my hair. Oh my god, that was clear as day. We need to play that back. You need to hear that.
Let's play that back. Let's stop it right here. Let me start the audio.
Wow.
You get your device going right now, right? I don't want to leave any audio. Okay, so.
There was a moment where we were standing there and we heard something downstairs. It almost sounded like heavy boot steps or something moving. So we went down there to check it out further. That's when our mindset in the investigation really started to change. And it takes us into a really interesting topic within paranormal research. That is the language barrier. You go to a location that's historically known to have a specific language, a specific dialect that they're speaking there. You don't really just go in there and start to speak English and expect to receive answers. That's just really doesn't add up to me. You think about some of the shows or some of the YouTube shows that are out there, some of the live streams that go to different locations that have a different language other than English. And you see people going out there and asking questions in English and receiving answers in English, which really doesn't add up. It's something to think about is if what we think we're dealing with is a deceased human, someone that's retained consciousness from life after death, do they just have all the answers out of nowhere? Is it the Tower of Babel giving them all the answers to know that they have every language and they can speak in any language they want? That to me doesn't quite add up. So being in this investigation, going into the Andres Pico Adobe, we knew right away that we needed a translator. We needed to respect the cultural aspect of the Pico family. We needed to understand the etiquette of the Pico family. And that's why we really had to think in the terms of their life, what they experienced, how they lived. And that's why we had to bring in a translator and instantly we started to have results.
Well, actually, just set this way down here. So you can start anytime.
En nombre de Dios, les pido, ¿hay alguien aquí? ¿Cómo se llaman? ¿Por qué están aquí? ¿Quién eres? ¿Cómo se llaman? ¿Por qué están aquí?
You could even ask about the lady that you saw.
Oh, Catalina. ¿Conocen a Catalina? Catalina y su esposo Jerónimo. ¿Son parientes de ellos? ¿Cuándo murieron? ¿Cómo murieron? Por favor, díganos por qué están aquí. ¿Están penando? Por favor, díganos por qué están aquí.
What really strikes me about this case is the stark difference in the investigations from when there were attempts to reach out to any entities that were there in English, and then when a translator was brought on. It's so important to really focus on the cultural aspect of an investigation. You have to try to meet whatever entities that may be there on their level and employ a level of sympathy.
¿Quiénes son? ¿Por qué regresan? ¿Están penando? Por favor, díganos por qué están aquí.
So how do you feel in this house? Do you feel
A little creepy.
really?
A little.
But is there any room that feels different in one room than the other?
Maybe this one feels a little different.
Yeah, definitely does to me too.
Yeah. Por favor, díganos quiénes son. ¿Dónde están?
See that it is flat. 0, reading. Now we're going to come up to the microwave. A little bit of a reading there. About 2 milligauss. Go a little bit closer to the controls. And that's where your EMF is at. Oh, right there. Ooh. 200 milligauss almost. I can't focus.
While having the translator downstairs while we're conducting our baseline data sweep, there was a question asked her, how does this place make you feel? And she said that she felt creeped out or creepy. Now, what's interesting about that is the exact room she was sitting in, we found almost 200 milligauss readings in that room, which definitely makes people feel like they're experiencing something uncomfortable, anxiety, which we all know that there's different levels of EMF and it affects people differently. So we had to throw out all EMF and any readings that we received because we had such high readings from that one room. We did not want that to contaminate the rest of our investigation.
Just maybe ask them to, we really want to communicate with you, however that's comfortable for you, whether it's speaking or making a noise or touching one another.
Yeah, we're not here to hurt you.
Okay. ¿Pueden, por favor, dejarnos ver su presencia? ¿Pueden tal vez caminar por aquí o tentar a alguna persona? para que los podamos ayudar de alguna forma si es que necesitan ayuda.
She's getting responses.
I know.
Por favor, díganos,
What did you just ask?
can you touch any of us or make yourself known?
The meter's going nuts.
When we, maybe after, if it responds like that, then you could probably, after a minute, you could tell us what you said.
Okay. Si quieren o les gustaría comunicarse con alguno de nosotros, por favor díganos quiénes son y por qué están aquí.
¿Hay alguien aquí con nosotros? ¿Alguien? ¿Hay alguien aquí con nosotros? ¿Quiere hablar con nosotros ahora? Aquí es. ¿Hay alguien aquí con nosotros? ¿Alguien? ¿Hay alguien aquí con nosotros? ¿Quiere hablar con nosotros ahora? Aquí es.
When you're investigating a place, especially some place as significant on the Andres Pico Adobe, it's important to remember that as boring as it might sound like a total dad and adult right here, but we're dealing with real people. These are people who died. These are people who may have died on the premises. What's interesting is that while Mark Harrington was staying at the Andres Pico Adobe because he acquired the land, he was living there, it was his place, there was a young man by the name of Benny who reportedly visited him. And Benny was the adopted son of Romulo and Catalina, and they didn't have any biological children of their own. All their children were adopted. And according to Benny, Catalina actually died in the Adobe.
All right, we're going to go into the room where Katerina stayed when she was older and was unable to go up the stairs anymore. And she passed away in this room. And we're going to do some EVPs and ask some questions in English and Spanish about Katerina.
Señora Catarina, ¿está en este cuarto? ¿Murió en este cuarto? ¿Por qué regresa? ¿Necesita alguna ayuda?
You could ask her, was she happy in this home?
¿Estuvo feliz en esta casa?
One of the best EVPs we collected at the Andres Pico Adobe was actually in English, funny enough. But we actually collected this during a control session where we had the condenser microphones running by themselves in a controlled situation, and we collected the sounds of heavy boot steps, which is one of the claims there, and you hear this man with a very heavy Spanish accent say, "No, this cannot be," really. That's what we're hearing. Obviously, it's open up to interpretation, so take a listen and let us know your thoughts. I want to thank everyone for watching the second episode of Formula of a Haunting: The Evidence. We'll be back with another episode soon, and get ready for our book that will be released in 2021. We're very excited about the release. See you next time.